Howler monkeys, these things just shout a bunch. They make a lot of noise, so they don't really do anything other than that. Not my favorite monster, really, because kind of that aspect, they just don't... They have one sort of idea behind them, but they don't really... A human. I'm gonna guess it's the yak vault, or... No, it's the hall... Yeah, that's right. It's like the livestock vault. Classic. So I haven't really used Kiku too much. We're still at pretty low Kiku piety. I'm doing a lot of spam of Call Imp, which does decrease the XP gain that I get, but it's okay. We do want to look out for a good, probably one-handed weapon. Because we're not really going to be able to use a two-hander at Mindalay, but one-hander, sure. Great Mace would take, I think that's a 20 skill one. But it's a little bit too much. It's going to be like I think at XL13 you get like 7 skill, so it means that a one-hander would be like basically usable, but uh-oh. Bit of a blip there, but everything seems okay. This is also, I think, a Chrono Trigger remix, if I'm not mistaken. Killing hogs. Time to make some bacon. Yeah, so this is a food vault. You'll see a bunch of these in the game. They're relatively early vaults. You will see them in Layer 2. They have, some kind of like fun set of monsters and then just a bunch of rations. Oh, that's a lot of bees. It's a bee closet. Okay, I'm gonna shout. And then let's see if we can set this up the right way. This is dangerous. This pack size is sort of just kind of small enough that I felt, and I have enough MP where I felt like I could do that. This would be a nasty little thing to auto-explore into. It's like one of these equipment closet vaults, but it's a giant pack of bees. Thankfully, this stealth is helping a little bit. You see we actually have a fair amount of stealth, because it's one of our higher aptitudes, and we had starting stealth on top of it. Dex is actually pretty good for this guy, I realize, because they are training dodging. Oh, okay. So I'm going to try to... Okay, we finally got to 2 stars of Kiku piety. It was a double closet. This one, the second closet, had a little bit more stuff in it. B closet. I don't think I've seen that particular vault before. Teleport trap. Here's our magic. I should have read that on the level below. Oh well. Yeah, backing myself into this corridor was not so hot. because I got flanked by some other kobolds and a frog. I mean, it was okay, but if it had been something worse, that could have been really bad. Ooh, melee out zombie, that is... Those things are fast and they hit pretty hard. So I'm making flames here so this thing can burn up. This is a good tactic for Conjure Flame. Zombies will always... I think zombies never care about their HP. I might be wrong about that. They might. But they don't usually. I haven't been using Animate Skeleton. I really should. Because it's really cheap and it's just nothing but extra... These guys don't have skeletons, do they? Nope. You can make zombies out of those, but Hungry Ghost. So this guy's gonna sap a little bit of hunger, but I don't really care too much. Almost enough for Yara. And Gel's Gravitas, apparently I can use. I'm gonna maybe hold out because we're gonna get another Kiku gift for too long. And that Kiku gift, when it is available, will be this guy. Glaive and Plate. If I can confuse him, that would be nice. Let's try this. There we go. Of course, when you encounter something like this, that's exactly when you're going to get stupid kobold army showing up. Okay. See if we can confuse him again. There we go. So what we can do is try to surround him with some flames, and he will not cooperate. Here he goes. Well, he stepped in it for a little bit. Nice. Now he's unconfused. I'm getting low on MP now. So we're gonna have to wrap up this hijinks. Basically, this area, everything is coming out to fight in this little corridor, and it's not too helpful. Yep, he never even really got wounded, so we'll try some other stairs. Don't want to take any damage from him. The glaive hurts a lot, and I'm not going to kill him with anything but Conjure Flame or something really good. You see, we still don't get... we still don't get like all great, imps or anything. We don't have like the best spell power because we're not focusing on summons or anything. We're still only at 4.5. I need to remember what all spells I have. It's easy to forget. Pain is similar to Magic Dart. It does do better damage, but I have to be willing to... Yeah, I'm focusing on everything. Book of Cantrips. Oh, Spammels. Spammels will probably make a decent number of Quokkas. It's kind of weak, though. Totally fair to use. I will probably use it for now. Actually, we're going to have so many spells, we're going to have to map some of these to different letters. Grunts Gravitas indeed. Oh, why are you doing that? Oh, Grunt was at the latest GDQ. He lives. He's dead to the crawl world, but he lives on in the speedrunning community. I haven't seen him stream in a while, but he was on the couch for Kirby Master's Sonic Advance run. Sonic 3 Advance, maybe? I'm not sure. Okay, problem is I need a setup here. Actually, what I'm probably going to do is try a Conjure Flame. I have to be careful about this. I really don't want to get flanked by anything when messing around like this. Yeah, this is not... That's the problem with this approach is like I can't... Yes. I don't really like this approach at all. These stairs are not very well situated for this. Ooh. There you go. It's a good skeleton. Pearl-studded ringmail. Yep, when they got that scary reach weapon and they've got the plate armor, no imp is gonna take him down. Oh, well, hello, sir. Okay, this is the best setup we've gotten so far to do this. Okay, he's probably not going to step through that. Wow, that thing almost destroyed him. I can probably, yeah, magic down. Or magic dart. Nice. That Wyvern skeleton was real. Degen pot. Got time for degen. Enchant weapon, we need to find a weapon. See what's dropped so far. Great mace, flail of draining. That's a pretty good weapon. That's all the way back on D4. I don't really want to ditch the staff of power yet though. That's like an increase in over 33% of my MP. It's a pain though. I don't like using it because that means I can't melee at all. And I'm gonna need like other means of damage. Mace is at 5, so we're not. That delay is going to be pretty high for a while. D8. Here's D9. Oh yeah, gadget shop. We will probably go ahead and buy some of this. This is good stuff. There we go. Got a lot of extra charges. These are super handy for when you are out of MP. Oh, already out of inventory. Anything else that I want to... Not really. Metabolic inglatiation. Kind of a cool spell to have right now. It's not one I typically use, but I wouldn't often have the skills, you know, sort of trained up, but 14% is actually pretty close. What's the misfortune? We'll hold on to that. Drop this robe for now, the shields are at 4.9. I think if I put on the shield, I'm... Oh, would you look at this? All my spells are so low level. I can wear this, have the shield for now. Drop the scarf with this much SH. Let's check out this ring mail and see what this does. Got remove curse. That's, well, that is a ring mail. We can still mostly cast our spells, just with the higher miscast rate. In +7 is pretty helpful. The Vestibule of Hell. That's not a very good ring mail. I think the benefit of that ring mail is the problem is the strength only makes the spellcasting penalty worse, although obviously the int offsets it some. Don't really want to have more potions of haste, yes please. Thing hits a little bit hard, so I'm just gonna... Meth is really noisy. I'm using it more because I'm a little bit... Oh, what do we got in here? Wow. Look at this vault. This is just as bad as a Gamma Funk trap vault. Vampire. That will... I don't have Dispel Undead, and he goes invisible. Probably the nastiest thing that I can actually see in there. Yeah, nothing... Oh, there's a Hornet. That's kind of bad too. Shapeshifter. Those can become really awful really fast. Is that an... Oh wow, it's a Bogart too. It's Nasty Vault. I will probably break into that eventually. That staff is the most interesting thing in there. It's just a scarf. Most of the rest of it is like, would be nice to have at some point, but not required. Can I enslave this guy? What is his resist? Oh yeah. Come on. There we go. Nice. So enslave is pretty handy. These guys are a little bit fussy to fight, but they're nothing too bad. Depends on the weapons they have. They can have some really nasty weapons. These guys actually didn't have too bad weapons, but they can have pretty bad stuff. Obviously poison magic is not effective. And they hit you with drain, which isn't so much fun. Ooh, here's a staff. Staff of Fire. We do have Conjure Flame, but Conjure Flame really doesn't need spell power too much. That's one of the reasons why it's just such a good spell on top of all the effects that it has. Because it's easy to recast, because the cost is low and you can chain it so that monsters can just step into a cloud that expires. But this is like a source of RF if I wanted. But we'll keep with the Staff of Power for sure. One thing I can do is I can actually use that as a melee weapon. Because I will be training staves and fire and evocations, because I train everything all the time. So that will make Enhancer stave melee better than it would normally be, because the skill is just already there. But our skill is not very high right now in any of those things. It needs to be like, I'd say at least around 10 before it's going to start being... I don't even know what the damage would be at that point, but it would be usable at least, and possibly convenient because it could be an enhancer. So if anything gets out of hand, I need to be sure to call on Kiku for corpses. I have not been using her too much yet. I haven't been using her spells because we're still waiting on the next gift. This is a great track. It's just really cool in the actual game. Huh. It's Nope's bedtime. Night, Nope. Thanks for stopping by, man. Try to stream once a week. I've been saying that, but it didn't happen once a week. This was more like 2 weeks ago. But maybe next week I can stream. Yep, see you later. Robe of MR. That's a pretty good item to have. What is my MR? It's pretty crap. Don't really need MR right away. But it is something that could be relevant when I go to Orc. Don't really need it too much for lair because there's just not. The only thing that checks your MR when you're in lair is basilisks or maybe some unique or something. But if it's a unique, you can usually set up a fight so that this has been I haven't really encountered any nasty monsters so far this run. You know, obviously I saw the two-headed ogre, but that's pretty typical. This guy. Here he goes. Oh, aren't you clever? You can still target him. I assume it still has a 100% hit rate, even for invisible monsters. So if you know where it is, Magic Dart's pretty cool in that regard. Picking up all these amulets that we're probably not ever... I'm not going to waste ID scrolls on amulets. I mostly want to keep them for consumables that are going to save my life. Ah, here we go, baby. In honor of Kiku's gift, I animate an orc. Let's see what we got. Oh, there it is. Borg and Jor's Vile Clutch. This is the new spell in 0.21. We've got Bolt of Draining. That's nice. It's a convenient spell. Simulacrum is really strong. Dispel, that's awesome. Agony is excellent as well. So these are all very high quality necromancy spells. Let's see which of these we can actually cast to any degree. Right now, none of them so much. Yep, BVC. BVC was Mikey's spell idea. He had it, I think, a long time ago just as a basic idea, and he mentioned it a few times in IRC, so I'm like, well, write up a proposal for it. And he's like, well, fine, I will. And that's what he did. And he sketched out just the basics of the spell, and it's kind of sad on... Some people responded to it, thought it was kind of cool. But closer to the end of the release, I thought it would be... I had been thinking about whether the spell would be something you could really implement in a good way, because he wanted it to be based on constriction, which is something that is centered around the player and is sort of processed by the players. It's processed kind of in a passive way by the players during the player's turn. And it wasn't clear to me that how you could have the constriction work, because this was supposed to be like these hands from the earth that were doing the constricting, but they weren't supposed to be actual summons because they like to the extent that they existed, it was like on the monster's tile that they were constricting. But eventually I realized it was like you could implement it just as if the player was doing the constriction and just put an enchantment on the monster. And so that's how it works. It just applies an enchantment on the monster, and if that enchantment is active and the player sees it, they'll just apply constriction damage and all the usual constriction stuff, just as if they were constricting the monster, but it's got some conditions to look for when this spell is the form of constriction used. So for getting the damage value and the escape chance and the conditions for when it can continue working, which differs a little bit from like Naga Octopode constriction, which has some slightly different conditions, like you have to be adjacent to a monster to constrict it with a constriction attack from Naga or for Octopode. But this works anywhere in Los, but it does require that the monster not move. Has some other differences, but it's a fun spell. In Trunk, it's not in the Necromancer's starting book, and it does about 25% less damage for the constriction, but it's still very good, and we'll definitely be using it. But in 021, it's in the Necromancy starting book, and it does even more damage. Good old Final Fantasy IV. Still my favorite Final Fantasy soundtrack. What is in this closet? Oh, it's a shop. Wow, that's a lot of artifacts. Well, that ring down there looks kind of alright. Arlec, our Poison, RC, MR+++, and Strength. I think I might be buying that one at some point. Our Poison, Slay -5. That's probably not going to be a ring I buy. Amulet of Harm, Lasty loves this. Star Drain. So you don't try to swap it. Oh yeah, that's just actually part of the Harm amulet. That's not even extra. Yeah, if you take off an Amulet of Harm, it applies Drain. So that's why any Amulet of Harm that you find is always going to have Star Drain, which just means when you take it off, you get the Drain, just like a normal mundane amulet. The rest of the stuff it has is, though, not very good for us. I like the flavor of RN+++ and it being an amulet that drains you when you take it off, though. Gourmand, I mean, that is a convenient one I've worn sometimes just when I felt spell hunger is getting out of control. You don't really get to control these spells. All the spells I have right now are pretty low level spells. Bolt of Draining looks like it's probably going to be the first to come online, and that's just due to a little bit of extra conj that I started with, but we are quite a ways. Even though I've got Wizardry on and a significant amount of int bonus, if I took off this leather armor, what would it look like? Would it be a lot better? It would be. Yeah, this is why robes can be so good on characters like this. And I might actually switch over to a robe. It's not that big of a difference, but it could mean the difference between casting that spell and not. For now, I will stick with the troll leather armor. Can't memorize any of these new spells yet, but I will amnesia something. It's D9. We don't have the layer yet. Hopefully it shows up on D10. D11 is where things often start to get pretty nasty. Okay, this is it. This is a classic layer entry vault. Got I think it's a Deep Elf Knight. Used to be, or maybe it's only a mage or something. I'm not sure what it is right now. Alright, this is not the best setup. What I'd like to do here is maybe do a flame. Let's see if I can confuse this guy. You know what? Meph might actually be pretty good here. Nice. There we go. I don't know if he's gonna. Okay, he is gonna move forward. So I'll just pelt him a little bit while he stands in flame clouds. This guy's a little bit too smart for that.